Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning, beautiful people? Welcome to our Tuesday morning growth insights training. I hope, like me, you have all managed to settle down after the change of time zones in Australia. Also, most of you who have the change of time zones will know that daylight savings ended last week, which is good. Kind of. I personally love daylight savings because I love summer. Just bear with me. I'm just bringing up your comments now so I can see them. Um, but I also love it when daylight savings changes because we've got less time zones in Australia and everything's a lot more a lot easier. So welcome today to this training. We've got an awesome training for you. Say hi if you are watching live. If you are watching the replay, pop hashtag replay and tag me because I would love to come back and see any comments that you have within the training and answer them and reply to them as well. So I can see that we've got a few people watching us this morning. Hello, welcome. It's lovely to have you with us. Now, my beautiful ladies, what we are going to talk on today is the topic of how to stay consistent and have momentum in our businesses. Now, I often get asked questions in my business all the time, like all the time. People will say to me, how do you keep it up, Ali? How are you so consistent? Like, we see you everywhere on social media, especially on Facebook. You're always doing all these lives. Like, it looks exhausting. How do you keep it up? Well, I want to tell you today that consistency in business is actually not as difficult as it looks, and something this is a conclusion that I have had to come to as I have grown in my business as well, because it was quite daunting when I started. It was like, okay, so we have to do all this stuff and we have to stay consistent. How am I going to do this? Particularly when at the time, as a lot of you will be, you're running the business by yourself, right? How do you keep that consistency? So today I'm going to tell you that it's not as difficult as it looks. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can actually have this consistency and create momentum in your business. So I want to take you first through a journey. So this is what I call my fear to fierce business journey. Okay. And this is a journey that in business that we all go on. And it doesn't matter, every one of us is at some stage of this business, right? Of this journey. And so I want to explain. So the first one is like fear and invisible. So this is when you're starting business, you're relatively new, even if you might be a little bit scared to put yourself. This is put out there. This is when very few people know that you exist in business. So it might be family and friends. And you're not quite using social media just yet to put yourself out there, like people are telling you that you need to do. So not many people. So you're quite invisible on social media as such, right? Now, I want to talk about this next step, which is fine and active. Now, this is when consistency wants to be in your business, right? Or you want to be consistent in your business, but you're not quite there yet, because what you're doing is, when we say you're fine and you're active, what it means is you're giving something a go, right? You're trying some social media for a week or maybe two. You're not getting the results that you want to get immediately, so you're stopping, or you're pivoting, or you're trying something new, right? So you're not continuing you're not continuing on the direction that you're on, or you're just stopping altogether. Now, the irony of this is, is when you do that, the momentum is there, it's ready to be built, right? And if you just kept going, right, rather than stopping and starting all the time, if you just kept going, if you kept the consistency going, this is when we can go to the next level, the determination, right? We become focused. The determination in us builds, because we start to see that, after a little while, we start to see that what we're doing, people are starting to respond to our social media. People are starting to comment on what we're putting out there. They're starting to, private message us for more information. Okay. So when you keep the consistency, you become focused and determined to keep going, right? And once you have the focus and determination, and you continue, like it builds, it's a momentum, like the momentum takes care of itself. This is when you get to you feel empowered because there's a lot of stuff happening. You can see that stuff is working and the momentum is building, right? I keep going like this because it's like a circle. It's like it's a um oh, like one of those dust balls when they roll in the desert and they get bigger and bigger and bigger collecting the dust. That's kind of that type of momentum is what I'm talking about. But it's a good thing in business. And so, when you get to this momentum, when you can feel the momentum happening, it actually doesn't take very long before you go to fierce and unstoppable. But when I say fierce, I mean that your business is going gangbusters, right? You feel unstoppable because you can see the momentum just keeps going and going and going by itself. All the while keeping your consistency, right? So people are starting to see you on social media. They're searching you out instead of you searching them out, right? They're wanting to work with you. They're wanting to buy your products, right? And it's exciting when you get to this part of momentum, feeling empowered, building to fierce and unstoppable. And most of my Heart and Soul Business Academy clients will come to me around that fine and active stage. Like they've tried a few things on social media, they're not working, they're getting quite frustrated. And so they know that, okay, like what we're talking about today, like they know they need the consistency, but they're just not sure how to do it, or what to be consistent with. So it's my job to help them find that consistency that works for them, and then help them get to a place of that momentum which takes them to feeling fierce. So it's an exciting journey. When you actually go on the journey, when you're on the journey, when you get to that part of focused and determined, it becomes quite exciting. Now, so how does consistency create momentum, right? So it's one thing to get the hang of being consistent, right? But when you stay consistent, this is like, as I just said, the momentum will take care of itself. And so your consistency creates the momentum. Can you see what I mean? Let me know if that's resonating with you. So how does it create the momentum? So it gives you measurable results. So when you have these results, right, you can use them to build and grow and to pivot slightly if you need to, not in a totally different direction, but just slightly, right? You don't need to make big changes or change direction completely. You can just use your results to make the improvements that your audience might be telling you that they want, right? So for instance, when you might put a research question up in some groups, in your own group or somewhere on social media on a regular basis, right? You can use those answers to improve your social media, or to improve how you go about your business, to improve your copy in business, what you're writing. So it gives you results that you can take away and measure your success with once you get this consistency and the momentum happening. It also encourages self-accountability. So consistency 100% encourages you to be accountable to yourself. Now, we've all heard about, accountability to others, but accountability to yourself is so important in business. And myself, I have learned to make this almost like a challenge. It's almost like a challenge because I'm a person, I love a good challenge, right? And so this self-accountability, this is where organization 100% comes into it, right? It is imperative to have that self-accountability, to have organization within your business. And it's like ticking things off a list, right? If you're a list maker and you like to tick things off a list like me, You know, it's that feeling of achievement once that list, once you tick each thing off. But oh my God, once the list is completed, like I know when I have a day, especially like Mondays is my planning day in business. And so when at the end of most Mondays, I will have ticked everything off my list. And my God, it's a good feeling. You know, my partner comes home and he says, "How did your day go, dear?" And I'm like, "It's awesome. I ticked everything off my list today." And so it's that self accountability. It's like I challenge accepted and I did it type thing. So it makes you, when you have this self accountability, you can see you have that, you know, that sense of achievement. It actually makes you then want to come back the next day or the next week and continue with that consistency. So can you see how, again, it's the consistency is creating the momentum. Oh, shapes your reputation. It absolutely shapes your reputation, definitely. Definitely. So for instance, me making a promise to you ladies that I'm going to come live every single Tuesday morning to provide these business growth insights training to you, right? Um, I want to, my reputation, I want to create trust in you, right? I want you to trust me. And so when I tell you that I'm going to be consistent in showing up every single Tuesday morning to do a live training for you ladies, I need to show up. It's self accountability, but it's also it's it's building my reputation and it's building your trust in me, right? So therefore, you know, we've all heard about the know, like, and trust factor. So when you're consistent and you're sticking to whatever promises you're making to your audience, so if you've got, you know, certain, I don't know, if you've got training that you're providing, or if you're doing like a podcast, if you say you're going to do a weekly podcast and it's going to be released every, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, then as long as you are consistent with that, you're going to grow trust in your audience, right? And that is such a big part of getting yourself out there in business and being consistent and growing in business. So how can we be consistent? It's just like, all right, Ali, well, it's okay. It's all well and good. You know, you're talking about being consistent and it creates momentum, but how the hell do we do it? Okay, so here's some tips on how you can absolutely start to be really consistent in your business. So be fully focused on the task at hand. Stay focused. Use your calendar. Make it your best friend. Have specific things marked out in specific times in your calendar that have to be done, right? And stick to your schedule. Something that I've had to learn to do. Man, has this taken self accountability for me. And you've probably heard a lot of people say, you know, when you attend webinars and all sorts, and I say this in my webinars, you know, I say close down the distractions, put your phone on silent, close down any tabs that you've got open, shut down your social media, you know, tell the family that you can't be disturbed for the next 30 minutes or so, right? Do whatever you need to do to be able to focus on that task at hand at the time. So, sorry, lost my train of thought. I love doing this. That kind of leads me into the next one. So one thing at a time. Oh my God, do not multitask, right? This is a huge part of why we all get asked on these webinars, or why I have started to close down the distracting tabs. I actually, when I'm doing a task now, even if it's just a task that I have to do, I actually close down everything but that task that I'm actually doing, because I know that I am very tempted all the time and I get distracted by shiny objects, right? This is why I have I think most of you would have seen this, my little no shiny objects, no more shiny objects sign on my desk. But, you know, as women in life, we are so used to multitasking, right? But when we come to business, I firmly believe that multitasking, it actually distracts us from, it's not a good thing. It can be a good thing in life, right? I mean, if you're a mother, you would get this. You'd sit there with a kid on one arm and you'd be cooking dinner with the other, and you'd be telling the other kid to stop doing this, and you'd be having a conversation with the partner, right? You're multitasking. We're doing 3 or 4 things at once. But in business, it's so important that, again, we focus on one thing at a time. It is easier to spend less time on one thing and do it well than spend more time on 3 things at once and not do them as well as you can. It was almost like half-assing it. Like, that's how I find I do it. When I'm multitasking, I'm half-assing what I should be doing in business. When I close everything down and I don't multitask and I focus on one thing, that's when I get more things done and I'm much better. Hi, Michelle. I'm so easily distracted. I know, right, Michelle? I know. Oh, goodness. The next thing is, do what you dislike first. Get it over with, right? We all have parts of business that we don't like. And so do the thing that you don't like to do first. It's called eating the frog. So there's a whole book on this, but in a nutshell, right, if you do the worst thing first thing in the day, then you've already done the worst thing. Everything else for the rest of that day gets easier, right? That horrible thing that you had to do is over and done with. And let me give you an example. So one of my beautiful clients, actually yesterday, I saw one of her posts. I think it was on her personal profile. She one thing she doesn't like to do, ironically, is social media. And in this post, she said that she's made herself a cup of tea, she's got her chocolate, and she's sitting down and she's focusing and she's doing her social media. So she was literally eating that frog, right? And good on her. And I'm gonna talk to her later today. I'm gonna see how she went with it. I don't actually know the answer to that yet, but it was the beginning of the day. She was just getting over and done with. So do what you dislike first, then everything else gets easier for the day. And this is something that, oh my God, so I have 100% learned to do. Stick to the basics. Don't make it too complicated for yourself, right? Yes, it's important to do things well. Yeah, so this is kind of, I said, you don't want to half-ass things, but yes, it's important to do things well, but they don't have to be perfect, right? You want to do them well, but not perfectly. And when we aim for total, complete perfection, this is when we often tend to overcomplicate things. You read my mind. Keep it simple. I actually say keep it simple, sister, because I like that better. Well said, Michelle. Well done. I did about 20 takes on a video just to introduce myself. It is weird watching yourself talk. Trust me, this is why I go live, because I don't ever go back and watch it. That's a whole other training right there. But yeah, so instead of overcomplicating things, keep it simple, right? You don't need to aim for perfection. And have an accountability partner, right? So yes, self-accountability is a great idea, but ask someone else, and it doesn't have to be one person, it could be a couple of people. Ask someone else to keep you accountable or to help keep you accountable, and make it a two-way street, right? Ask someone that you trust, where there's mutual trust, right? Someone who's going to challenge you and encourage you when you need it, right? And they're going to challenge and encourage you to stay consistent. If you're not staying consistent, they're going to go, why not? Why haven't you done this, right? So it's like, it's someone walking alongside you to help you create that momentum and that consistency in your business. I actually have 2 different accountability partners. There is one lady called Martine who I think we have been doing calls regularly on a Monday morning now for about 3.5 years. We met in a course and we've been doing these calls regularly, and we challenge each other, right, all the time. So we catch up and it's like, okay, so what did you do last week? What were your wins? What were your not so good times? What were your wins? What were your challenges? And that's awesome. So what are you going to do this week? Right? And if we didn't do something that we said we were going to do the last week, it's why not? Right? And so we challenge each other all the time. and we support each other. Another wonderful lady who, I get advice from, and vice versa all the time, is Lucia. We speak very often about, how we can, um, about what's happening in business. She will give me advice, I will give her advice, and if we haven't done something that we've said we will do, it'll be, well, why haven't you, right? We are open to advice and being challenged by each other. So having an accountability partner, especially when you're in business by yourself, is an absolutely invaluable thing to have. If you haven't got one, find one. My ladies in the Heart and Soul Business Academy, I always say to them, find yourself an accountability partner, preferably within the course, but you don't need to have just one, you can have a couple. So it is something that is really handy to have. So are you struggling with consistency? And I want you to listen to these questions and think about, is this you or not, right? So are you focused on the outcome rather than the process that you're going on? So we are often so busy focusing on that really big picture that we forget to break it down into achievable tasks and do those tasks, right? And because we're not doing those achievable tasks, we don't have these actual tasks to follow. We're kind of like winging it, right? We're trying, this is where the active part comes into it. We're trying different things for a while. They're not working the way we want them to work straight away. So we're moving on to try the next thing, right? This is that active phase. We're trying something for a couple of weeks. Well, that didn't work. I'll try something else. And so what we need is an action plan. So maybe you don't have that clear action plan to follow. Maybe you are playing a guessing game. I've been there. It is literally like throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Well, I'm going to give this a go because I've seen she's doing that over there. I'll just give that a go and see if it works for me. And again, when it doesn't work after a couple of weeks, we go, oh, that didn't work. I don't know why, and then I'll try this. I'll throw this spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You see what I mean? And this was me, 100% me, before I got this, before I learned how to have that actionable plan and to follow that plan and be consistent in following that plan as well. The challenge seems too far out of reach, right? So that long-term goal that you've got, it just seems so far away that when the momentum doesn't automatically happen because we've been active and then you've stopped and then you've been active again and then stopped, and the momentum's not automatically happening like you want it to be, that's when we stop being consistent, right? So let me ask you, here's a challenge for you. I'm a girl who loves challenges. What if you were to do at least 2 things a day? 2 things that are going to help you on your way to reaching that long-term goal. What if you were to gradually tick things off your list every single day that are going to help that momentum build? Can you see consistency? Do things, at least a couple of things, 2 or 3 things every single day, consistency. Gradually tick things off your list, add more things as you feel that you can, and the momentum will build. And that long-term goal won't seem so far away because you can see that you're getting closer and closer and closer. So consistency in business is something that needs to stay, right? And this is something I have learned, oh my God. So I've become consistent and the momentum has started, and then for whatever reason I've stopped, right? And then so because my consistency stopped, I didn't keep doing the things I needed to do, the momentum stopped, so my business stopped or slowed, right? So it's really important that we continue to have that consistency. Then we will continue to have the momentum. And the exciting thing is here that, as that momentum builds and builds and builds, your business grows, you can start hiring team members to help you with the consistency, to help you. And it's just it's a build, build, build. Can you see what I mean? But you, as the business owner, must practice that consistency first. And something that I say, it's something that I've said to myself all along, this is to kind of remind myself that things don't have to be perfect, is better done than none, right? Better done to a point where I'm happy than none. And actually, as I'm talking about this, there was something I was doing. I was doing a course with my coach Francesca, and she said something. She said was, you know, aim for 5 out of 10. If it's 5 out of 10, that's great. And so a saying that I adopted was strive for 5, right? So if I create something new or something in my business, if it's a 5, then okay, I'm happy. Do I want to improve it? Of course. But that's something that, you know, is to come. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So if you're looking at these questions, I want you to honestly ask yourself these questions later. If you're looking at these questions and you're going, yeah, okay, yep, that's me, and you feel that you need help with your consistency, if you feel that you need help with creating an action plan, let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. And let me help you with your accountability. You know, let me be an accountability partner of yours and guide you through some steps. You know, you're welcome to book in for a chat with me. If you would like to, pop the word momentum in the chat and we'll be in touch with you to make a time to have a call with you. And, you know, if you want to we'll do a little mini sales funnel audit for you. This is actually going to help you understand where you are on that business journey. And, you know, we'll see if the Heart and Soul Business Academy is something that you might be interested in. So again, pop the word momentum in the chat and I'll absolutely be in touch with you and we will have that call. So, all right, my lovely ladies, I'm excited because I'm staying consistent in my business today because Tuesdays is my training day and today I get to go and teach my Heart and Soul Business Academy girls. And yes, I am going to ask you, Ashley, if you're watching, I'm going to ask you how your social media went yesterday. Better done than none. Exactly, Parme. All right, my lovely ladies, again, if you want to have a chat, pop the word momentum in the comments. If you're watching replay, pop hashtag replay and I'll come back and we will have a talk with you. All right, beautiful ladies. And guess what? I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to see you again next Tuesday for another Business Growth Insights. I'll see you then. All right, bye.